Hi, I'm Dr. Mac Adkins, founder and Chief Academic Officer for SmarterServices. I'm glad that you're interested in this topic of a hybrid approach to learning and testing. Due to the pandemic's influence on society, what elements of your life have shifted from a static, traditional structure to one with more choices, a hybrid structure? Here's some examples from my life. I'm a person of faith, and a weekly gathering with a community of similar believers has always been a highlight of my week. In fact, most of my educational background is in religious studies, with an undergraduate, graduate, and professional degrees in Bible and ministry. Adding to that, for about a decade, I taught an undergraduate course in a state university that was an overview of world religions. Historically, when you look at the expression of religion, it has almost always involved ceremonies and celebrations face to face with a group of like-minded persons. In our Southern vernacular, we call that going to church. But during the pandemic, for over a year, I did not go to church. I watched church online. This experience allowed me to reframe worship within the small group of my immediate family. It also afforded me the opportunity to watch church of several other groups whose physical assembly I likely would never have attended. More recently, as my family has been able to travel, the ability to watch church has allowed me to remain connected with my local church, even though I'm hours away. Before the pandemic, another frequent activity was going shopping. Sometimes, if there was an item I could not find locally, I would order it online, but for the most part, the task of walking around a store, looking at objects, maybe even picking them up and reading the packaging was a regular occurrence for me. But during 2020, as we moved across the year, I became much more adept at and comfortable with the act of shopping online, even if I could not pick up and feel the objects. Then, as Christmas 2020 approached, for the first time in my life, I bought more presents online than I did from a physical store. How about you? In addition to going to church and going shopping, another ritual for me across my career has been going to work. My work life started as a bag boy in a grocery store. Later, I was an admissions counselor for a university. Then I climbed the ranks of other educational administration roles, but for all of them, I had an office to go to. But in 2002, when I founded SmarterServices, from its inception, it was a virtual company, and that was back before virtual companies were cool. This initial decision was partly because I did not quit my day job for several years. Also, we could save money by not leasing office space. But mostly, it seemed like the right thing to do to start a company that was providing an online service that the work of the company could also be done online. In 2015, a private equity group invested in the business, and they felt that we should be working from an office. So over time, 3 offices were established in Alabama, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. But then March 2020 came, and guess what? Everyone returned home. Fortunately, one of our green initiatives back before the pandemic was what we called Work from Home Wednesday. So all employees were already equipped with computing devices and internet access at home. Recently, we made the decision that moving forward, the company would be remote first, meaning that while we still have physical offices, most employees primarily work from home, and we only congregate at the office on special occasions. I don't have a crystal ball, but it seems to me that even after the COVID-19 virus is under control, that I will continue not to have to go to as many places. I like the option of watching the worship service of my church and or several others. I have already started Christmas shopping online for this year, and I'm getting an earlier start than even last year. And now our company is back to its original roots of being a virtual company. I like that. There is something else I've done many, many times: going to school. All throughout my elementary, secondary, undergraduate, graduate, and doctoral studies, one thing was in common: I went to school. Now, I'm dating myself here, but all of my formal education was before e-learning. Perhaps that's why I've been so passionate about being a champion for e-learning. At Smarter Services, we believe that higher education is the best way to break the cycle of poverty. It thrills me to work with clients such as St. Francis College in Brooklyn, New York, which is one of the most diverse colleges in the nation. They've won awards for the social mobility with which they've empowered their students. It keeps us motivated every day, knowing that the services we provide in the areas of student readiness, academic integrity, and learner authentication are making e-learning a better experience for millions of students. Prior to the pandemic, our main service was the Smarter Measure Learning Readiness Indicator that uses non-cognitive indicators to inform students about their readiness for learning in a technology-rich environment. This assessment has helped about 6 million students determine the degree to which e-learning is a good fit for them. But learner readiness was reframed during the pandemic, with the students' position toward e-learning often being ready or not, here it comes. This shift also elevated the use of our other services, Smarter Proctoring and Smarter ID. During the pandemic, the only option for most students was to learn online and also have the degree to which they learned be measured online via virtual proctoring. At first, this was odd and uncomfortable for some students. Well, I must admit, the first time I watched a church service online, it was a bit odd for me as well. It left me wondering things like, am I supposed to sing along, or do I stand now? But just like I now value the option to worship, shop, and work online, students are also now valuing the option to learn and have that learning measured in a controlled environment online or in a face-to-face setting. Another change during the pandemic was that testing centers closed. Many are currently back open, but with limited capacity. This left the testing center employees at home with not really any work to do. Simultaneously, there were many faculty who recognized the high cost of live virtual proctoring, where you pay another human to watch a student take a test and then set out to do something about it themselves. Often these diligent faculty used video conferencing software such as Zoom to try to proctor their e-learning students. But this was a nightmare for most. It proved unmanageable for faculty to provide technical assistance as they tried to connect to Zoom. Then, without the assistance of artificial intelligence to spot anomalies, faculty found it almost impossible to closely monitor multiple students. Then there were FERPA issues and also complications for neurodiverse learners. It was out of this need that several schools prompted us to provide a better option, which is now called hybrid virtual proctoring. It is powered by the anomaly detection of our artificial intelligence. It is supported by our professional support team, who are available 24/7, 365. It can maximize the use of school personnel such as testing center staff, faculty, teaching assistants, e-learning staff, etc., to actually serve as the live virtual proctor. It truly does provide the deterrent level of live virtual proctoring, but at the much, much lower cost of automated virtual proctoring. As we emerge out of the pandemic, hybrid seems to be the word of the day. We can both go to church and watch it online. We can go to a store or shop online. And many companies like SmarterServices are offering a combination of working from home or in an office setting. Similarly, much instruction is being done in a hybrid manner, with some instruction being local and some being online. The same thing is now true for proctoring. Much of it is done online and in testing centers as they're reopening. Some proctoring is moving back local. Faculty are valuing the proctoring modality choices, which they can flex based on the rigor of exams. Schools and their students are valuing the cost savings of hybrid virtual proctoring. We truly are living in a hybrid world, and that includes even proctoring. Well, I need to wrap this up now because I need to go to the restroom. Some things never change.